question that I asked is, if this is the equator, and we cut this in half, and we go from here to here, what will be at the top not be the exact same?
Those would meet together when you break it apart, as when you break the world apart and you put it together like that. Yes, they will meet. But the world is not broken apart like that. These two continents weren't even there weren't even there to begin with.
So my thing
this wasn't there, this wasn't there.
And what my
everything was one
and it broke off,
complete thing. Everything moved where it moved that way, and this moved that way.
So what I want to know again.
So what is your question?
We cut this.
But what does the breaking it in the equator have to do?
Most people say, oh, if you cut it this way, that's half. I'm talking about the equator is like this.
But
so
that
we
has
cut it
nothing to do
my main question.
The world breaking apart.
So my main question, I guess what I'm trying to say is, the same continent that's up here is the exact same shit that's down here.
Bless you.
How can you not prove me otherwise? You said that there were 7 continents earlier, right?
Okay.
We count the 7 continents. What the fuck is up here then?
So basically what you're saying is that when this and this and everything else was one, it was the same thing.
Exactly, because it's a circle.
How was it the same thing?
That's the point I'm trying to make. It's a square. It's a circle.
But how was it the same thing though?
Because
how would that be the same thing that sat down there?
So you look at your phone. If Europe is over here, if you got Africa, then you got China, right?
If you're saying, so this was the world. This was the world, and it breaks apart.
Right.
So for this to be the same as this, that would have had to mean that all of this moved this all the way around this way, or however it moved to be at the top, and then a piece left at the bottom, and then whatever was here.
Don't touch it. It's my mind.
The thing is, if you start here, you keep like turning, right? So keep going.
You don't even have to do all of that, because if everything was here in the middle,
look how you're recording this. I'm just confused.
Everything was in the middle.
Yeah.
And the world broke apart.
Right.
It would make sense if something broke apart, then pieces just moved this way.
Right. So Antarctica.
So how would it be the same?
Because
how would it be the same?
I'm just going off of as far as I always ask, what does this have to do with this? Right? Is what I asked.
Well, what does it have to do?
So what they've explained to me is, and how I was taught is, if you break the map up, which is the flat map that you just seen us, this and this is the same if you connect them again this way. If you connect them again this way, this and this will connect.
When they meant that, did they meant that it was all part of the same continent? Because that would be the only thing that makes sense in that.
That's what I'm saying. So
because this part would have been the top, and this part would have been the bottom, which it obviously is. Well, everything that's in between.
Right. So my thing is, at first I said, well, how can they connect? Because you have all this land of body of water, and it makes no sense, right? Then they said, okay, well, they tell you that the Earth is round. Have you actually seen it? When you are in the sky, do you
have
see
you
it
seen that
flat?
it's flat? What's your password?
0205. So when they said that it was flat, the only thing I asked was, okay, if it's flat and we just continue to keep going, per pilot and stuff like that, if we continue to keep going, we have no destination. But like you said, it's a sphere, right? We just keep going around, right? So if that is the case, compared to the map that you just showed us on your phone, I always asked, either the map that they taught us with is lies, or the Earth is not round.
How would the map be? I don't think. I really don't think.
We need to go over. That's what I'm saying. I said I always got kicked out of geography class because I always ask questions.
You really cannot understand how geography works, because I really don't understand what you're trying to say.
Geography. Who made that?
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Sorry, we're going to agree to disagree.
I understand what you're trying to say.
We're going to agree to disagree.
I just don't understand what you're trying to say.
If I cut this right here open,
none of that has anything to do with
this
moving
and
this
this
way.
will be the exact same.
Like when you have something when you have a block of ice thawing out in the water, and you break that block of ice, where does everything go? It goes like this. Does it not?
Yeah.
That's ice. It can melt.
So my thing is, he just
You're
hold
right.
on.
It can.
Hold on.
It can
he
melt,
just
but that's where
said what I needed him to say.
Right there.
He just said what I needed him to say. He said ice can go everywhere, right?
That's
So
what
again,
happened to
it's
the
7 continents based off of what
So
you said
supposedly,
earlier.
but we know that.
Supposedly there's 7 continents, right?
Uh-huh.
If we look at the top of a fucking map based off of what we were trained in, the map that you just pulled up, can you tell me the continent at the top? No. Why? Because it's the exact same continent at the bottom. It's one fucking continent.
How is it the same continent?
I just told you.
How is it the
Just
same
told you.
continent?
I was waiting for you to say that.
How would it be? How would that break up to? How would, if anything, how would it break up for that part to go all the way to connect to the bottom? How would it do that?
Well,
David, you just said it's ice, and it goes where?
everywhere.
This is what you just said.
But
Cut the map open based off
if
of the map that you
if it's a block of ice and you break the block of ice, it's going to go this way. This part's going that way. The bottom is still going to go to the bottom because that's where it's flowing.
It
This
may-
is going
it may
over there.
travel to the
That's
top.
going over there. But it would have to go through the other pieces, the other bodies, for it to travel to the
That's
top.
if those bodies haven't moved elsewhere, but we don't know where they would
But
go
those
there.
bodies have not moved. If they're stationary in one area, what if they're stationary?
Are they stationary?
Where would it have traveled?
Are they
through?
stationary? Are they
So
stationary?
what I've learned, right?
So
I'm just asking.
So
wait,
basically-
before you, but no,
because
basically
now
nothing. Are
I
they
had-
stationary?
now I had a revelation.
Are they stationary?
Because basically what
Wait,
you're
before
saying.
you go there, are they stationary?
So basically, my
Alright,
issue,
so no,
what
they're
you're
not.
saying is that when it broke up in the same continent, and when everything else spread this way, those 2 continents spread this way.
Yes.
I can accept that.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm like, 'cause
Yeah.
I always ask, even when I'm
Okay.
I ask,
All right.